What's up, guys? We've made around $114,000 this week so far with this brand, and today I want to break down the exact image ad testing structure and iteration process that you can use to spam out images like crazy, go crazy with the hit rates, and actually just iterate them properly, meaning the stuff that you already do have in your ad account will just maximize the performance of it, get it a lot better than what it already is, and really just overall systemize it. Maybe even send this video to one of your team members, your graphic designers, your creative strategists, whatever, okay? So this should help you. This is like an overall on one image ad solution video. No bullshit. I'm just trying to walk you through everything that works for us, okay? So what you need to understand and what you need to kind of categorize your image ads into is there's 4 different types of image ads. And so when it comes to the stuff that we're looking at, and specifically I'm not talking about the hooks, right? So obviously, you know, in the hooks, there's different awareness stages, there's different stuff here and there's different formats, but usually what the highest lever is after you have written the hook and the headline of the ad, which is obviously the most important part. But after that's done, there's 4 different categories where you can structure your ads into. And we have product focused, right? Which showcases, you know, the product on the visual. And I'll walk you through a couple examples. There's mechanism focused, meaning actually, you know, like showcasing the product in use or the main ingredient in use or what exactly it does. Or for example, a before and after or some type of other comparison. Super important, super powerful concept. Then we have problem focused concepts, and then we have outcome focused concepts. Pretty self-explanatory. And so what I want to do is I want to show you examples for all of these, and I want to actually break down how you can iterate every single one of these ads that you can see here. All these examples, none of them was done by me. Okay, so this was all completely just ripped for this video, for the sake of this video, from the ads library, just completely randomly. I want to break down if I were the creative strategist or the media buyer or whatever for one of these brands, what would I actually do in order to make these better? Okay, so sounds like a promise, right? Bold claim, but let's actually back it up. So when it comes to product focused visuals, the reason why this is so much on top here is because this is actually the highest converting type of concept. Now, usually people hear, oh my God, highest converting, it's got to be the best concept whatsoever. Usually it isn't, because it's not like highest converting means conversion rate is high, but that has nothing to do with the CTR and therefore a CPC. Usually, in fact, this concept is the worst click driving and attention grabbing concept, because for someone who isn't super product aware, maybe most aware, they're not going to resonate with this style and this type of concept. So what's going to happen is they come to this ad, and anyone who's not product aware is just going to click off and just keep going, keep scrolling or whatever. Okay, so as you can see here, you see how this one, for example, we have, you know, like overall a pretty solution aware hook. We have comparisons and whatnot, we have some features and benefits. Overall, it seems like a pretty solution aware concept, but it's just a product picture. No crazy background, no professional shot, nothing. There's just literally just a product picture in the middle. Here, it's the same thing, barefoot shoes. We even have a hook, which is very product focused, right? It's very aware, very high converting, but very bad in terms of CTR probably. Same thing here, right? This is actually super interesting because this is a super unaware, or I would say problem aware hook. However, the visual doesn't match the awareness stage. So this is something which you see oftentimes what brands do, and this is something which you can implement too in order to have your stuff engage better, therefore CPMs going down, is not purposefully not matching the awareness stage of the visual with the awareness stage of the hook, because the awareness stage of the hook here is less aware. It's like, you know, like problem aware, solution aware, whatnot. This here, the visual is very product focused, okay? And it even has the offer on it. So we could argue that the visual is, you know, most aware. Now, when we're moving on to mechanism focused ones, this is an interesting concept because this is very broad and there's a lot of different ways to interpret this kind of. If you check this out, I mean, we have, you know, for example, here we have an explanation, so like a time frame of when you're going to really see the results. Here we have a before and after. Here we have another before and after. Usually before and afters are the most common mechanism focused concept. However, with before and after specifically, you have to be a little bit more careful of what you do. Now, problem focused is like a pretty self-explanatory, right? Just showcasing the problem. So we have back pain here, we have foot pain here, but we also have, you know, pretty weird looking, you know, like these cartoon style ads where you don't really see the face of someone like showing a negative emotion. So there's no emotion in this ad, but it's kind of like disgusting, right? It's like it shows these bacteria and whatnot. And so that's what makes it pretty problem focused, because this visual does grab attention, even though there's no face in it. There's nothing really, no reaction to emotion, right? And the same thing we have when it comes to outcome focus. To outcome focus specifically, as you can see here, we have a happy guy walking here, painless walk. We have someone relaxing here. We have someone, relaxing here and being pretty satisfied, pretty happy. And so these are the 4 different types of visuals. Now, if you've taken a closer look at all of these, what a couple of these have in common and a couple of those haven't is what types of disqualifiers are on there. And so I'm going to walk you through what that is. A disqualifier is anything that makes your ad convert better, but gives up a little bit of the CPC, so meaning the CTR specifically. So as you can see here, imagine we had this ad without this 50% off badge here, right? What would happen is, okay, we had a product focused visual, we had a pretty product aware hook, right? It's gonna already be super high converting, but not driving a lot of clicks because there's not a lot of people interested in this, okay? So why adding this little 50% off badge? We push on that even more, 100 times harder, because what this does, it disqualifies everyone that otherwise would have clicked, right? Let's say, imagine, I'm just gonna draw randomly over it, just so it looks like it's not there, okay? Imagine we don't have an offer disqualifier here. So what's gonna happen is people are now gonna click, right? Maybe better for choose. They have no clue if there's anything offer focused, if they're trying to sell me something, maybe it's an article or something, right? People are not 100% aware or kind of, just like know immediately that this is an ad or not. And so what's going to happen is they see this ad and therefore they click. But when this is on there here, right? So when we do have a disqualifier in terms of an offer disqualifier in this case on here, what's going to happen is those people, a lot of those people actually aren't going to decide to click. But the ones that still do are the ones which we focus on, because those ones actually convert significantly higher. And so disqualifier is the trade-off that you make between higher conversion rate and lower CTR, right? Same thing, by the way, goes the other way around too. So if you want to get, if you have terrible CTRs and really good conversion rates, oftentimes it makes sense to remove disqualifiers, because then you get higher CTRs and lower conversion rates a little bit. But the trade-off makes sense because the change in CTR is more there and more present than the decrease of conversion rate. And that's oftentimes what, how that really looks like. Same thing here. We have a disqualifier, 30-day risk-free guarantee, free shipping. Okay. Once again, a pretty offer focused one. 60% off pretty much here as well. Here, we actually do not have any disqualifiers, but what you could, I guess, also count as a disqualifier is a logo, right? So we have a patient journal. I mean, it doesn't look like a logo or something, but usually anything that these little things that you feel like make it more aware and kind of show people that there's something that they can't resonate with. So for example, as you can see here, like, I have a pretty specificity is a very good direct response element. But a lot of people also like to classify it as a disqualifier though. So this is really important too. Pretty much here as well. Here we have no disqualifiers whatsoever. Here, no disqualifiers either. So these ones actually will drive a lot of clicks, maybe struggle to convert more. But one thing is for sure, these 3 up here are definitely going to convert better than these 2, right? Just because of the disqualifier difference. Same thing here. I mean, this one has 60% off. This one doesn't have anything. So this one will convert better, for example. We could already tell. And this one will have better CPCs, 100%. Same thing as this. For example, also any more explanation, anything that adds in extra text to your image ad is also a disqualifier. So this here is also a disqualifier just because having this text. Imagine, once again, I'm going to draw the example here. Imagine we had no text whatsoever, no explanation. What this would be is just a normal ad showcasing some random problem, and it would drive more curiosity. Maybe it's something which people don't like, more people just, are like completely shocked by. Now that we explain, there's something, oh, this is an ad. Oh, this guy wants to sell me something. Significantly fewer people click through, but the ones that do have nothing to be surprised about. Therefore, conversion in your store goes up massively. Let's do this here as well. We have no disqualifiers here. we do have ones here. So we have chemical free, drug free, which is objection handling. We have the logo here. We have the product here. So these are all disqualifiers, right? Same thing here as well. This guy, if it was just this guy sitting there with the face, same face that he does here, it would have had no disqualifiers. Now I want you guys to imagine how this would look, right? No product, okay? Maybe even no arm here, right? So imagine this guy was just sitting here relaxing and just a review, right? It could be anything. It could be an organic post. It could be a news article. It could be some type of Forbes article. But imagine now that he has this product in it, you know that it's an ad, and therefore going to convert better. And so I think you kind of get the point. I'm not trying to hammer too long on it. Basically, what I want to really break down is now that you have all the information on this stuff, how do you now make the correct decisions on what to iterate and when to iterate it? And so there's two different metrics that you look at. And so like I said before, conversion rate, cost per click. And so if you go deeper within, because it's never just conversion rate or just CPC. You can always go deeper. And so it's always either the add to cart rate, the initiate checkout rate, or the actual drop off to conversion rate. And when it's the CPC, it can be either the click-through rate or the CPM. The reason I have no hook rates and pitch rates and whatnot here is because we're talking about image ads today, but really you'd have stuff that goes below the CTR as well. And so what you're trying to essentially do when you're getting into the iteration process is you're trying to figure out what is the weakest metric. What's the weakest metric whatsoever on my specific ad? And so it doesn't matter if everything is terrible. And that's the whole point, right? It's never just going to be obviously presenting to yourself on a silver platter of, okay, I'm the weakest metric. No, usually it's a lot of the metrics that are bad. Usually it's a mix of two things that you can't really figure out what's weaker. But you take the weakest one of the best image ad you have and fix that first, because those have the biggest lever. That's the biggest lever you can pull on that ad. And so let's say that it's the add to cart rate. That means that you literally just don't have enough disqualifiers in the ad. Meaning, overall summary, position the ad more as an actual ad, if that makes sense. So like we talked about it, for example, adding in a little offer disqualifier, maybe adding in the product picture into it, turning it maybe from a, like a super outcome based like this guy into only a product based here, because that removes the guy, that removes the CPC driver, the click-through rate driver, that just only has the conversion rate driver. I hope you kind of get the point here. If the initiate checkout rate is the weakest metric, then that means that people have second thoughts. And so what does that tell us? Well, we need to get into more objection handling. Example, this guy. So as you can see here, chemical-free, drug-free, there's always reasons why people are always kind of trying to justify the purchase decision in their minds before and after they make it logically. And so that's super important to add in objection handling, because then they have an anchor of where they can justify the purchase decision onto, right? So if you have the CPC as another example, let's say the click-through rate is the weakest metric. Well, that just means you have too many disqualifiers, so you have to position it less of the ad. So another example would be, let's say you have this supplement here. This is the ad. Let's say there was no girl here. It was just an ad like this, okay? Just the product in it. Now, what happens here is this is very boring, right? There's nothing really focused on anything crazy. Now, you could turn an ad like this into an ad like this, because now there's the guy. Now you see the satisfaction in his face. It's a lot less like an ad. And so therefore, CTR will go up, but this guy here will go down, if that makes sense. And so if it's the CPM, then that just means it's the wrong audience, or it's just too broad, right? We're trying to do something which 100 people before us have already tried or are trying right now. And so what can we do? Well, we can test different avatars, different marketing angles, different pixels, different Facebook pages. All these things will have crazy differences in CPM. So this is overall just a very quick video about the iteration process, specifically about image ads. Super important. Whenever you have any questions, type them into the comments below. I definitely want to get into reading and answering them more. Thank you so much for giving me your most important asset, which is actually your attention. Thank you for watching. See you next time. I wish you a beautiful day.